welcome back to this episode of Morning Edition. We got some new players with us today. I'm Annie Satowski. We had producer who you've seen before, Austin McCollum, Ted Phaeton, as always. I was just going to jump right to Tia Levon because we've never had you on the show before. Tia Levon. Thank you, Shay. She is our new producer. That's a really...
Yeah, sorry. The cameras get wonky.
I thought so. Just kind of do whatever they want. But Tia Levon produces our noon newscast, and she used to produce the show that I anchored. And so I miss her very much. We get to talk all the time, but I can't believe this is the first time that we've had you on here. But the reason you are here is because we're talking about the Harry Potter series trailer that just dropped. It's going to be an HBO series. 7 projected seasons are going to go. Each season is going to be one of the books. And you are a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to defer to you. Thoughts?
Feelings.
Go. So much to say. Okay.
How much time we got?
I saw the trailer like everybody else, and I don't know, it just gives you all the feels. If you're like a real Harry Potter OG, like you really got excited. I got excited. I know I did. I mean, just seeing it all happen again. It just brings back the childhood.
It does. It's nostalgic.
Right?
Yes. Is there any part of you that's nervous, right? Because when it's done the first time and you enjoy it and you love it so much, you get afraid of re-racking it and doing it again. Is it going to be as good or is it going to be better? There's a standard that has been set.
Yes, agree. And there is a part of me that is a little nervous, only because you grow so close to the characters. I mean, look at me. I'm acting like I go to Hogwarts.
Your letter's in the mail.
You grow so close to, the characters, and you've been, grown accustomed to, who they are, how they play a role. So I'm already trying to detach myself from, expecting everything to be the way it was. I really want to give the creators their fair chance to wow me all over again. So yes, I have those, but I'm trying to reel myself back in.
I hear that.
And you had mentioned in the beginning of the trailer, it shows Harry Potter at Muggle school, right? His normal school before he finds out he's a wizard. And it's a little bit dark. The voiceover is of his Aunt Petunia saying, you are not special. And I mean, now that we go back and read the Harry Potter books and watch the movies, because the book obviously goes way more into it.
Yes.
It's kind of dark. It's sad. Like they put this poor boy in a closet and treat him like absolute trash, only for him to rise and become the greatest wizard in history. I digress, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how they tell different parts of the story and maybe take some creative liberties.
Yes.
But I'm excited to see it. I forgot it was even happening. HBO does great content, and they've been talking about this for so long and talking about casting. So far, the young Harry, Ron, and Hermione look
amazing.
And he looks different in the trailer. Like, that picture is kind of weird, but they look amazing.
Yeah, it's John Lithgow's Dumbledore, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
He's going to be
Plays
amazing.
Snape. I know that. I'm not familiar with that actor and who he is, but I think it'll be kind of the hardest part for me. Alan Rickman first was just like the perfect centerist. But we also lost Professor McGonagall. We lost the actor who played Revius Hagrid.
Well, don't forget in the first movie, Dumbledore, that actor died.
It had to kind of get picked back up. So I think it's cool because it's just Harry Potter for a new generation.
Which I think is part of, like, not to interrupt, but like that's part of the magic, because like we're all of that like older millennial generation. I remember my mom reading me the first Harry Potter book. Yeah, really? Yeah. Oh my God! Like it was so.
I think that's a lot of
special. Yeah. And like kind of evolving, like
Gosh,
I remember
you say your mom read it to you. Like,
yes,
you could read though, right? You could. Don't
theory, but it was like it was that like special bonding moment.
We would take turns. It was like when you were focusing on reading out loud, like in 3rd grade, kind of a thing. Like, so she would read some and I would read some.
I was gonna feel really old if you was like, no, I was just learning how to read.
Well, it's like Harry Potter is the only book in my childhood my mom and dad told me to put down, because like
it wasn't crafts.
Well, no, because I was just always in it. Like it was one of those things. They're like, hey, you need to take a break.
Same.
Like my mom went to get her nails done. I was a kid sitting in the front reading, eating my French fries, reading, and then we went home reading. And my parents were eventually like, "Can you close the book for like A little.
But think about that now, though. Now we're begging kids to like put down the iPad, put down the phone. Like I think that all of that generation would trade that for a book in a heart.
T. Levon, are you gonna introduce the books to your boys?
Yes, they have no choice.
It is indecisive.
You're going to like it. They're going to like it.
You know, I think we were talking about like that translation to HBO. Will it recapture the magic? And I think some people online have pointed out, you know, when HBO gets their hands on it, there is a certain level of production that goes into these series. I mean, we've seen it with like The Last of Us and a lot of these adaptations they've done. And I mean, that trailer, like I didn't watch it until this morning because Annie had texted me and was like, we're talking Harry Potter today. And I mean, it looks incredible. Him unveiling the Nimbus, the broom he gets for Quidditch. Like, I was like, all right, I'm in.
I'm sold.
I feel like
When does it come out?
They captured all the feels, like all the moments that you loved in the book, even in the trailer. It just feels like they really played it up. Like, and back to what Annie was saying, like I love the idea of seeing Harry Potter in school. That we didn't really get that in the books, you know, the different aspects. Like they're not, to me it seems like they're not just remaking everything we've already saw. They're adding in different little elements to give the story a different life and different feel. I can appreciate it.
I'll go ahead.
Where's the sorting hat putting you? I feel like I want Gryffindor, but I'd probably end up at Hufflepuff. You know what I'm saying?
Teddy's in my.
I'm a Gryffindor.
Nah.
I feel like I mean, I'm biased. I feel like I'm a Gryffindor lady, though. Like I am.
I feel you.
Strong.
Probably that, or maybe Ravenclaw.
I thought about that set.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
About
no
you,
Slytherins?
No Slytherins.
That's where I'm ending up, is Ravenclaw. Because I feel like that was like the kind of like the emo, like kind of nerdy, but more nerdy is like geeky is Hufflepuff. And
It's like the ranking system. It's like it's like Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So one other thing I will say from the trailer, the guy who is playing Hagrid, I mean, nailed the accent.
Agreed.
It feels so familiar.
It does.
I still miss him.
Yeah. God, that's the thing. We've lost so many people, and how do you kind of like?
It's big shoes to fill, but I think that for an actor standpoint, you just have to kind of make it your own.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of pressure, though. I would hate to be in any of their shoes.
I will say one exciting thing, because I just looked it up. This premieres December 25th, Christmas this year.
Merry Christmas, guys. I think a lot of people are going to be, they're like, all right, we've opened presents. It's on.
You already know though that 14-day trial for HBO is gonna go here.
They're smart. Like the people at HBO know production value, and then they also know timing. They're geniuses over there, and I'm sure they get paid accordingly. So they know that everyone's going to be watching on Christmas.
Wingardium Leviosa.
There we go.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum.
She is the real expert. All right, Tia Levon, it has been wonderful having you. We are going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to this episode of Morning Edition. Tia Levon, our Harry Potter expert, she had to go back and do actual news. Producing our noon show.
Whatever the paper was in the Harry Potter world, the Daily, I can't remember.
Prophet?
I think so.
The Daily Prophet.
Ooh. Where's my bell? Where's my bell? It's coming. But it's okay.
Soundboard.
Yeah.
Epic fail. All right. So the next thing we're talking about today, obviously, TSA lines all over the country. Thank goodness not at Charlotte Douglas International. We check those every morning on the morning show. They're all under 10 minutes and all the checkpoints are open. Obviously that goes up throughout the day, but in Houston and in Atlanta, people are waiting like 5 hours to get through TSA.
There was a story of a guy, I saw a news report the other day. He had a 6 p.m. flight. He got to Houston's airport at 7 a.m.
Wow.
Because he had missed it the day before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's not the main topic of what we're talking about. This is bad, right? So now, I didn't know this. It makes sense. I guess I knew it on some level, but lawmakers, right, who are going back and forth between Washington, they get special escorts through the airport, but they also get to cut airport security lines normally. Now, Delta is saying, no.
Nope.
They are revoking lawmakers' privileges, which I didn't realize this was based on airlines. I thought it would have just been, hey, lawmakers get clearance from TSA, right? Not just the airlines could individually do this. But they said, no, if you are a lawmaker, we are revoking your clearance. If you are flying with us, you are going to have to stand in line with everyone else. So it's a very interesting move.
Yeah.
You can have opinions about that, whether or not, but I think it'll be a really interesting to see if anything moves in Congress when people have to stand in line. My guess is what's going to happen. They're just not going to fly Delta.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just going to pick a different airline. Or if there is a big thing, we all know that they have access to private. So they're just going to fly private.
Honestly, good riddance. I'll state my opinion because I'm in a different capacity.
You are.
But I'm with Maykay. Like what she was saying, our chief transportation correspondent this morning on Queen City News Now. It's if we, the regular flying public, have to endure 4 or 5, potentially 6-hour waits, they should feel that pinch too. And again, I know I'm kind of speaking in my own capacity here. I have a loved one who's flying out of Charlotte to Philadelphia coming up. Again, we've talked through Charlotte. You're going to be right now fine.
But how is it in Philly?
Coming out of Philly, I think, who as of a couple of days ago had a almost 25% call out rate for their TSA staff
workers.
And I told them, I said, you probably want to get there. I'd say 3 hours, maybe.
Which, think about it, when they told you to get there for your domestic flight 2 hours early, I never show up 2 hours early. There's no way you could not pay me to show up that early in normal times, but that's what we're going to have to deal with. I will say that I think, as news people, it's not our job to offer opinions. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to bring you all the news. But I will say, I think that no matter which side of the aisle you land on, I think that the largest complaint coming from the constituent base all across the country is that they feel like their representatives are out of touch with what everyday normal people are dealing with. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. If any lawmaker does actually wait 5 hours in line at security and then they go, whoa, this is really bad. Of course it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think you have to do it yourself to realize if you have gotten on a plane ever or waited even an hour in TSA, you know that no one wants to stand in that line.
No.
It's just like a normal human thing. So we'll see what happens.
That's why I said, good for Delta, because I did not know it was based on airline as well. I thought it was just a blanket.
Like getting security clearance at the Pentagon or something.
Exactly. They're like, oh, yeah, you're at this level, so go on through. But
Right.
For Delta to take that stance, it's more of them, you know what? They might lose business from it, like you said, Annie. They might choose to fly a different airline. But it's just Delta using their freedom to take solidarity and say, hey, if maybe you are out of touch, maybe they're not knowing the plight of folks standing in line for hours. So this is their attempt to translate that to our lawmakers so they can feel a little bit of that pinch and also really echo in terms of how bad things actually are. So good for Delta in terms of taking that stance. And if it means hitting their bottom line, I love Delta anyway as a
Thank you, Delta.
as an airline.
That's a business decision, right? And that's what you get to do as CEO. You get to make all those decisions and see what happens. All right, well, we are going to see what happens on the other side of this break. Just a little hint, it involves pressure on doing one of the biggest things that you will ever do in your life. I've got some fun, the best thing that you will ever do in your life. We've got some fun stories on the other side of this break. Welcome back to Morning Edition. We love to bring in some of the elements of our show during the day here that make us talk. And Jane King, who joins us from New York every morning, was talking about a recent survey where young people, maybe Gen Z, they're kind of entering that life or that time in their life where they may propose, of the increasing pressure that they feel to do these over-the-top proposals because of what they see on social media. I think maybe we can attribute that to the start of the promposals, which was like not a thing for me in high school. No. You literally got asked by your boyfriend or a date, like, you want to go.
I think I had a pimply face. I was like,
you go to and then you're like, sure. And then that's it. So they're feeling that pressure and spending money and just going bigger and better to try to one up people on social media. So we all started talking about our proposals. We're all married men and women here. And so since most of the pressure is on the men.
There we go.
Sorry, I don't have my nails.
Yours is so sparkly.
Thank you. It's really dirty.
Look at that.
Anyway, so a lot of the pressure is on the guys, right? Most of it in the traditional sense. So Ted, let's start with you and your proposal. And did you feel pressure to do this in a certain way? Or were you like, no, I'm going to do this my way?
The pressure was imposed internally. It was not by keeping up with any social media or anything like that. The pressure was actually thrown to me by my lovely wife with a curveball.
Oh.
So first we went to Aruba. She thought I was going to do it there. I took her to Aruba for her birthday.
Curveball.
And I didn't do it there because I had asked her parents preemptively to come to Greenville, South Carolina, where we were,
Mhm.
and I was going to set it all up. Randomly, like a month and a half before the date, like the go time, she's like, I'm going to go to New York this weekend. To
Because you had
plans. The weekend that I already planned. Yeah, okay. I remember calling my now in-laws like, why would you say yes? You knew you were supposed to come down.
They
So-
forgot?
Well, they didn't forget, but they would have tipped her off because
Right.
they're all about, hey, yeah, come up to visit.
Yeah.
Obviously, long distance, every opportunity to see their daughter. So if they would have resisted, it would have blown up the whole thing. So I had to
The alarms would have been going off.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to adjust and fly to New York in order to do it. So I was just going to do it nice and simple. I was going to have a friend play music. But now that I was doing it in New York, I said, okay, her sister lives in the city. Let me do Central Park.
It's gorgeous.
So what I ended up doing was Central Park. We ended up doing a horse-drawn carriage, which a week before proposal, there's a horse-drawn carriage.
I love it.
A week beforehand, we're in downtown Greenville, South Carolina, and there's a horse-drawn carriage. And she's like, I don't see the point of those things. And I'm like, there's no refund. Long story short, she only said, I don't see the point of those things for other cities than Central Park.
Fair enough.
So we still hit the money on the head. I get there, I realized there were a lot of people in Central
Of
Park
course.
on an 83-degree day. And I was like, ooh, I got to do this in front of people. But she said yes. There was no pressure from the outside. And then we had our whole family for dinner afterwards.
Fun. I love that. Leave it to Jess to just throw all those curveballs at you.
I was sweating.
You survived.
No
But-
kidding.
There was no social media pressure. I was just did what was it within my means.
Yeah. And that's the point, is it needs to be special
Yeah.
and unique to your relationship.
And yours, because you sent me a very special video today. Because I've known you for a few years now, and obviously, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, gymnastics is a big part of your life.
Yes, it was like my entire
And
life.
I know, because I'm gonna pull up a video real quick. So if we'll take a look, let's.
We can't.
It's a little hard to hear in the beginning.
Yeah.
These are something special.
I don't even remember what he said, honestly.
He gives you this jersey.
He gave me this jersey with his last name on the back.
And you knew.
And I knew at that point. So this was in the gym at the University of Iowa where I went to school. Huge part of my life. So every year, my family and I had planned to meet up at an Iowa football game. That's like what we like to do. So we had planned the Ohio State game, bringing Craig, my then boyfriend, to the game too. And so at the gym always has practice. My former coach there was always like, any alumni that's in town, you have to come to the gym. If she finds out you're in town without coming to the gym, you're going to get in trouble, right? So I just planned, I'm like, okay, hey, babe, we're going to pop into practice, mom, dad, whatever. Like, no big deal. And she had texted me earlier when I told her I was coming to town. She's like, hey, we're going to do like an alumni video, trying to put some stuff on social. So could you help us out with that after practice? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. They've asked stuff like that before, so I didn't think anything of it. So they were filming this alumni video, and all the girls start bringing me a yellow rose. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, we don't do this for alumni, but like, okay, this is fun. And so then Craig walks up. And so my mind goes on the roller coaster. It's, oh my God, he's proposing. This is happening. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. I black out. And then just before, like a week before that, I had gotten promoted to an evening anchor position at my station. We also had to put down our dog, like literally at the same time. So there were lots of things happening. And he said to me, he's like, with Kobe and everything, we didn't get to celebrate your promotion. And I was like, this is for my promotion. Okay.
Yeah,
like, that's still
weird.
nice, but whatever. I'm like, oh man, like this is not happening. He hands me the jersey. It has his last name on the back. I cry. With all the roses. And then we got to go have champagne and treats in the press box before the game. And then we smoked Ohio State.
Just go.
The best day ever. But yeah, it was pretty special. He had I don't know how much time we have. I don't think
We
we
got
don't
a couple minutes.
Okay, all right. So he had the ring in his pocket when we were going to the practice, and it was he
luck, Patty.
didn't know like what was going on, what the coach had planned, and so he pretended to have like stomach issues and need to go to the bathroom. Gave me his jacket. I don't know why he did that. He put his jacket like on the bench, thinking we were gonna wait, and I'm like, why would we wait for him to, whatever, he doesn't feel good. So I'm like, okay, we'll just go into practice. He didn't know what was happening. I left the ring in his jacket pocket on the bench, just willy-nilly.
Oh no.
On a college campus. Basically, it was fine. It all worked out. But it's like, why didn't you wait? I'm like, why would I wait? Like, I'm like, you don't feel good because I had no idea that was coming. I thought it might happen at some point that weekend, not in that context. So it was really special. I don't know if he felt pressure, but I think the
We all
point
feel
is
pressure.
to make, I think but internal pressure, not like,
Yeah.
oh man, so-and-so did this on Instagram and now I have to
No.
one up them.
I think that's the message from this is, whether that is the trend right now and I would definitely say not just younger generations, but a lot of people who are more addicted to social media. It's like,
Yes.
you don't have to make it this thing for other people. You need to
It's for
make
you.
it for you and your partner.
Yeah.
And that's what makes
Which
it.
is what you did.
Yeah. So I've been married to my wife for 2 years now, Meredith. And so when we were kind of inching up to the day I knew I was going to propose. So we met on Thanksgiving 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I wanted to make it special for us. So she's a big fan of this Canadian indie band called Stars. And during COVID, their singer, their main guy, named Torkel Campbell, was like, hey, I will do custom commissions, art commissions, custom songs. So I commissioned him to write a song called Marry Me Meredith. And we ended up walking down the aisle to it when we got married.
Oh.
But when I proposed to her, and I wish I had the video of it, it's on a different file right now. I had put it on the TV and I said, hey, I got something special to show you. And I had started playing the song. During this build up, she's looking at me. Like, what is this?
You're like,
On that very
did she recognize?
Thanksgiving day. Yeah.
Dude, wait a minute.
Smile was a spell I fell under. I found home and I wanted to stay. Yeah.
Wow.
Probably like the voice sounds familiar, but what song is this, you know?
She clocked it immediately.
Really?
And I told, I'd written him like, hey, these are some of the lyrics I really, some things about us. We'd met on Thanksgiving. And I've told her and I've told everyone this, when I met her, I knew.
Oh.
It was like she was in the doorway. Because I was working overnight news at the time. And then, sorry, I'm going to cry a little bit. I love this song so much. So anyway, I'm going to pull it down before it gets me. Thank you. Shout out to her. Thank you. I'm about to. So, I had met her and I was like, I knew. And she was standing in a doorway. She had brought me a plate of food from a Friendsgiving she had went to. Because again, I'm working overnight. So it's like 10:30 at night. And I was like, I'm going to marry this woman.
Aww.
So point being, back to our original point, is this a little over the top? Maybe. But I did it for her and I did it for myself and us and not for social media clout, And I think that's the big takeaway here is that it will be special, whether it's the stress of, well, I don't really like horse-drawn carriages, and you're like, oh, come on.
No.
Or a special place like where you've spent so much of your life and so much, of this energy and commitment you've made to your sport. And for us, it was music. And I think that is really the big takeaway is like, look, if you're out there, if you're watching this and you're like, how am I going to propose? One, you're going to be, Ted, we all know this. You're going to be nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to black out.
Yeah, you're gonna.
I think my hand was like doing this a little bit.
I was in Central Park opening the box because making sure the ring was still there.
Yep.
And a guy was with his wife. I assume he walked up. He put his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "You gotta do good, there."
That's so nice. I love it when people just know and they're like, it's going to be
You're going to be,
it's going to be fine.
she's going to love it. They're going to love it. You're going to be okay. And you're going to, maybe your voice might crack a little bit.
And that's okay because it's genuine. It's genuine. Just make it special. And that proves that you know the person that you're asking to spend the rest of your life with, right? Like all of these were perfect for the relationship.
I'll ask. Did you practice what you were gonna say, Austin?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I had a
recommendation.
phone set up in a bookshelf. She didn't notice until later that was recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
Was this in your apartment or like?
Yeah, it was in my apartment in Florida when we
Cute.
lived down there.
Cute.
And practice it, rehearse it. I did that.
Did you forget?
I did that production thing where I was like, before she came home, I like played the song on the TV a bunch.
Yeah.
Of
to make sure it was
like a
cute.
1, 2, 3, play. All right, we're good. Everything to me. And then I think that night there was some other stuff going on, and I think I remember telling her, and I know we got to wrap in time here. She was, it was one of those nights you get home, you're like, I just want to put on pajamas.
Yep.
And I was like,
And you
hey,
no.
hey, why don't you do your hair and
You told her to do her hair.
take a shower or something?
Why would you?
Because she pictures video.
I know, but that's part of the planning part. Like you don't like.
It was Thanksgiving night.
Someone said come home and like immediately like shower and redo your hair. I'd be like,
What is going on?
What do you mean? Why?
Why?
I look like a gremlin, like that's 5% of the time.
Oh, come on. So it was beautiful, and we've been happy ever since.
I love that.
Yeah. All right,
That's-
guys. I think that's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Joining us on this morning.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share, guys. Thanks for sharing. This has been Morning Edition on Queen City News Plus.
Sorry, I'm
Delicioso.
Oh no, I don't have a.
It's okay. You're out of here. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.